It was like, this is not fun anymore. It was bad. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should. You probably are, and that's why we like you. On this week's episode, we made a what is the decision called? It's a, what do you call that?
Audible.
Semi-executive
decision.
We put up a 2-pick Tuesday, but we're recording on Tuesday, so the results aren't in. And this week we're drinking new Riff Malted Rye. I'm very excited about that. But before we get to the what you thinking, then to the drinking, Cole, let me do some speaking. Support us on Instagram by talking to us. Also, if you want to help us monetarily and you want to join for our drink along, which happened yesterday, it was amazing. You missed it. Get in at the $10 tier on patreon.com/chillfiltered. Other than that, the only other way you can really help us, leave us a rating and review. Ben Klepsig put it the best when he said it was a backhanded compliment when Mitzelprick said you can tell only their friends and family are leaving reviews. And we didn't even know Ben. Cole met him once. He left a good review because, gosh dang it, you're like family to us, folks. So leave the boys a review.
Give the boys a review.
Cole, what are you thinking? How you doing?
I am thinking. Let's see. What am I thinking? Is that light on? That light's not on. That's why I look so dark. I haven't been getting a lot of great sleep lately. You know that like point where you're like you can't keep a thought in your mind because you're getting that little sleep. I stop in like mid-sentence sometimes. Like I just did, and I'm like, it's like what's the guy, the congressman or whatever, the
Mitch McConnell,
senator or whatever. Yeah, where he just freezes up. It's funny.
It reminds me. I saw I can't remember which Instagram site or account it is. Anyone under 80, 2024, like just anyone who's not super old. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against old people, but man, that happens. The older I get, the less sharp I am. I may be a little wiser, but I'm a little slower. That's for sure. Especially when sleep. No, man. Sleep will get you every time.
Do you get gray hair?
The beard gets a little bit. I'm starting to get a little like on the sides. But
you're pretty good for 40 plus.
Yeah, nothing too significant. I did the weird thing. I got a gray chest hair up here. I'm like, I guess it's more of a clavicle hair. And that threw me for a loop. Oh, his name is Plucked. That guy's gone.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was just fun. I like pulling hair out.
I get like a lot of gray. I mean, you can see the tint in this section of the gray that I have. And I get like gray right on these sides of the beard. I don't know if you can see it in YouTube now, but
no.
Yeah.
The key to not going gray
is
staying young and eating popsicles on camera.
Hey, it's summer. So no, I the other day I was at the ABC store and I grabbed me some mezcal. You ever drink mezcal?
I love mezcal.
Yeah, I got the George Clooney one, the Casamigos one. It's like $70.
That's like George Clooney. Isn't The Rock on that? On that?
I don't know about The Rock. I know it's George Clooney for sure.
The Rock has.
He's probably got his own.
He's got maybe it's with him. I think it's Casamigos. I don't know.
No, George Clooney's. I mean, if it's shared with The Rock, maybe, but I know George Clooney's the man behind Casamigos. He sold it for like $2 billion.
Crazy. And
that's a lot of money. Especially
when agave plants might be going extinct.
It's a good time to buy, or a good time to sell, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's been good. Working through some work stuff, and that's all I'm going to say for now. And that's sometimes hard. But otherwise, sleep has been on my mind. And it's like I said last week, it's just this little baby's and I'm like, oh my goodness, just sleep. And the funny thing is she does sleep But like, and sometimes you'll go like an hour and she's just silent. But then sometimes she's just like letting out a fart that won't come out, you know?
Well,
but I love her. You're listening to this, Gray. I love you. I love
was that
you
your segue? Is that why you asked me if I have gray hair? Because you were trying to segue into gray.
No.
Speaking of your children, guess where I'm going to be next Monday?
Mexico?
Nope. Even better.
Back at school.
Not quite. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town. We're gonna be at Ogden at the singer Beck's acoustic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little nervous about it because I am like, that's literally the 2 days before school starts. And I'll be getting back like half day before the first day of school, which I'm like,
handle it.
Well, the thing is, like, that's when my staff comes in. So like, I don't have any time with my staff. Yeah. I only got one newcomer.
Your staff can handle it.
It'll be what it is.
It'll be what it is.
And it is what it will be.
And sometimes it be that way.
Women do
Beck, did I tell you this? Beck's going into K2 school. We decided to take her out of daycare and put her in like a schooly thing. Did I tell you that?
No.
Oh, it's scary, man.
Is it like a public school thing, or is it like
a Christian private school?
Okay.
And it's probably going to be fine. But I was like, but what if she hates the change? And what if she like doesn't like it? What if she's scared all day? Like, these are the thoughts you think when you only have a 2-year-old and a 0-year-old. Yes.
So she's
yes
2.
And no.
Beck's 2?
Beck's 2 and a month or 2. Yeah.
And you're putting in her K2 school? What is that? I don't even know what this is. That's not a daycare?
It's basically daycare with a few lessons, like a few, like, simple, very simple curriculum things.
Okay.
And that's why we wanted to do it, because she's just getting babysat at daycare, but like she loves to learn. She loves to read. She loves to be read to. So we're like, why not have a little more structure for her? But it's like scary. She'll be fine. Everything will be fine. She's got her sleep mat, like roll up sleep mat, and we're like, oh, you're gonna take the best naps. I don't know. There's just so many things where I'm just like worried about it. But I think she's gonna do great. But I'm like so worried that she'll be like alone and scared and not know what's going on and hate that. But I think she'll be fine. She's been in situations where she's like somewhere new without mommy and daddy, and she does fine. She just plays.
How does she do at parks? When she goes to
parks, watches a lot.
Watches a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is at that age, if she's a watcher, some kid will come over and be like, "Come on, you're my friend now."
Yeah.
That's how they are at that age.
Mean, and like kids aren't that mean. Sometimes they are, but rarely are they like super mean at 2 years old.
Yeah.
So you don't want like someone bullying her, but there aren't many 2-year-old bullies. There are some. Don't get me wrong, but
she'll be fine, man. It's one of those things where she'll be fine. She'll be fine. It's hard. Yeah. Stuff like that, transitions like that are harder on parents, I think.
Yeah.
Like I see it all the time with like my 6th graders. Like parents are freaking out, like email me who they are. They're doing okay. I'm like, they're doing great. They're doing better than I am. Yeah. I'm freaking out. I need my mom to call and see how I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, she'll be good.
That's good.
She'll be good.
Yeah. And then technically, Gray will be going to daycare next week too.
Boy.
She's like a month and a half old, and we're putting her in daycare, and it's scary as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's hard. I think that's hard.
Yeah.
I remember we were driving just the other day, and I drove by the girls' first daycare, and I was like, "That's where we first dropped you off." And they're like, "Did you miss us?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, it's so hard just taking it. It's easier in a way, like because usually they fall asleep in the car and you put the carrier in and they're asleep, but it's also hard because that's your baby. They're always your baby, but that's your baby. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you.
We'll see how it goes. Right. Next week, you'll know. Next week, you will know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We shall see. Okay.
We shall.
Anything else, Cole? Anything else on your mind? Anything else that you're...
No. What about you? Anything else on your mind?
Well, I haven't gotten to talk yet. Really cool. No, things...
No, I was about to ask you.
No, okay.
Things for you, Robby.
Things for me is how they is. You know,
I be
doing. No, things are going okay. I am like a little nervous about the beginning of the school year. But I'm excited because the wife and I we're gonna head down to Park City for a little bit, and then we're gonna head back up to Ogden, which will be kind of fun. Get to see the show, and then like we're leaving like 4 or 5 in the morning, so I can get back like half day of work, which kind of stinks. Like that's kind of defeats like part of the purpose of getting away with the spouse is like sleeping in the next day without a kid.
Yeah.
But no, we're excited for the trip, and then like. The cool thing is, so we took apart the twins' bunk beds, so they're back in twin beds, kind of next to each other-ish.
Okay.
And 2 nights in a row, no one's come into our room. It's been wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, I told the girls, I was like, you know what? If you keep sleeping on mommy and daddy's floor, Santa might think you're a baby. Santa might bring you baby toys for Christmas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I hope it's a combination of those two things: the beds apart, and the Santa thing. So hopefully it continues. Fingers crossed.
Whatever.
But I will say, I kind of miss them coming into our room. It's always kind of comforting having the kid on the floor, and just I don't know.
Yeah,
I like that. I don't like.
I'm sure I will too. Once Beck's being woken up that age where she can leave the room and come to us.
Yeah,
I love my.
And then Amara's near your neck of the woods right now. She's up in DC.
Nice, further than you've ever been.
Further than I've ever been. Yeah, no, she's in DC with Chelsea's cousin Kelsey and our sister-in-law Danae, and they like got a tour of the White House or something. Like I don't know, they're just all over the place. Like Kelsey's got all these ends in DC, and like so it's pretty cool. So I miss that girl. Cool. That's a hard thing. I got 2 kids sleeping in the bedroom, so I bet my bedroom's empty, and then I got 1 kid not even in the house. That's hard.
How's Amara liking it? Is she enjoying herself?
I think so. She can be interesting. Like, she it's always hard to say. Like, she loves people. She loves doing things, but at the same time, she kind of needs her own time and downtime. So I don't know how that's going. So I think she's doing all right though. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Are you ready to drink? Are we done thinking? Drink. Get to the drinking. All right.
Done thinking. Let's drink it. But before we drink it, we got to get to the history. But before the history, we got to get to the break. So here we go to break.
Hey, Cole.
Yeah, what's up?
How's your colon health?
I like to say that my colon health is as good as my name. It's Cole good.
Oh, well, you kind of robbed me of my punchline there. But let me tell you one thing, folks. A double whammy. You want to do something good for your colon, but you're afraid, hey, I might poop my pants. Go eat yourself some Bush's baked beans, and then go to MeUndies.com. Enter the chill filtered password and code for the promo of I bushed my baked beans in MeUndies to get 20% off.
Yep. And you won't regret it because next time you bush your baked beans on your MeUndies, you'll think of us.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? When you've got MeUndies on that you got from our promo code, it's Yar Undies because we want to share in your undies.
And with that, check us out at MeUndies.com/bushesbakedbeans/chill filtered. And we're back. This is kind of a fun one because we don't always get samples from. I believe this is a Bryce Marita joint. Yeah, it's got to be with this. You got the right one, right? The new Riff Malted. Yep. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh wait, no.
No. Nope.
Malted. You got the wrong one.
Nope. Okay, I got them both.
Yeah, sweet.
I grabbed the wrong one first, and I got the right one second.
Oh, there you go. This is a Bryce Marita joint. So shout out to Bryce Marita for providing what we're sipping today. Secondly, if you want another shout out, maybe hit us up on Instagram. We love talking to you. So what were we drinking? Woodford. Forgot to change that. We are drinking New Riff Malted Rye 6-year. So this is actually our 3rd episode on the New Riff distillery. Episode 89. Yeah. Episode 89, we drank their single barrel rye. And episode 167, we drank their single barrel bourbon. That was literally 100 episodes ago. That's crazy. So let's remind our amazing listeners of who New Riff is and what makes them special. So pretty recent for a Kentucky distillery. They only started up in 2014 by a guy named Ken Lewis, located in Newport, Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati. And one of the big things I respect about New Riff is this: they've always intended to properly age their whiskey. And often that takes years. In their case, pretty much is like minimum 4 years, I think. But don't quote me on that. And everything with the New Riff branding was aged in house, and yes, and distilled in house. And yes, they did like growing, or I'm sorry, they did like most growing distilleries do when they need to age their juice and still make money. They sold MGP distillate, but they didn't call it New Riff on the label, which I thought was cool. That they're not saying, "Hey, this is our stuff," when it's really someone else's stuff. No, they gave it another label on its own. So this is what they did, especially in the beginning. They sold a brand called OKI. And OKI stands for O for Ohio, K for Kentucky, and I for Indiana. It was distilled and aged in Indiana, bottled in Kentucky, and enjoyed in Ohio. I mean, it was probably enjoyed everywhere, but I think it was only sold in those 3 states. But makes sense where New Riff is very close to Ohio, right across the river, that they also sold in that state as well. Anyway, OKI was apparently some really good MGP bourbon, and not just one type of bourbon either. There were different OKI ages, cast strength options, some barrel picks, and I think they are apparently still selling it. I might be wrong on that, but I think they still, they were a year or two ago, but I still think they're selling it. It's pretty rare stuff, pretty hard to find because I think it's only sold in that area. But all the whiskey, or I'm sorry, I think it was just such a hit from the beginning that they're like, we'll just keep doing it, and basically just sourcing this whiskey for the OKI product. But when New Riff products hit 4 years, they started bottling. And here's the cool thing about New Riff is that everything, like I mentioned earlier, everything they're making is at least 4 years old and are either bottled in bond or cast strength single barrels, even their ryes, which is pretty cool. They are very serious about the grain they use. They want the highest quality corn, rye, and malted barley. Their goal is to become one of the great American distilleries, from what I've seen. And they have a nice following of sincere bourbon and rye enthusiasts, especially on their single barrels, which I think is cool. It's nice to see a distillery that's big into the cast strength single barrels, makes them unique. It's kind of like Four Roses. They don't only make cast strength single barrels, but they're big. Like people seek them out. So let's talk about what makes the pour we're drinking today unique. Like I said, we're drinking New Riff Malted Rye, 6 year. On their website, it had a title, and it was a long title. It said, Kentucky Straight Malted Rye Whiskey Bottled in Bond Without Chill Filtration.
Hey, that's not the name of the podcast.
Definitely not the name of the podcast. So most rye we use in distilling these days is unmalted rye, which is generally known to be a pretty spicy baking spices and kind of like peppery rye flavor that we're used to in some of the ryes we drink. And most, not all, but most rye whiskeys are not 100% rye grain. Usually they're like, less than the total amount is rye, and then the rest is like corn or malted barley. But this whiskey is a mash bill of 100% malted rye. That's right. Malted just like barley when we talk about single malts. It is possible to malt rye, just a little harder apparently than barley malting process. And from what I've read, it's not as complicated as malting corn, but that's why malted corn is pretty much unheard of in the whiskey world. So I hear, at least. Anyway, they say malted rye is a little more complex and a little less spicy than what you'd expect of your regular unmalted rye. But yeah, bottled in bond at 100 proof and aged at least 4 years. In this case, 6 years. No chill filtration. Hey,
that's
not the name of the podcast.
No.
Anyway, another shout out to Bryce Marita. What a baller. Give me a moment, Bryce. Give me a friggin' moment. I wasn't great with the professional class.
Can't hold the stem.
Anyway, retail total wine price is $60.
All right. Okay.
Let's get into it. Let's do.
Oh man, what do they make malt balls out of?
I have no idea. That's a great question.
All I can think of when you're talking about the malting process.
It's like malted milkshakes.
Nose first nosing. Interesting. Terramana is the rocks.
What?
Terramana is the rocks mezcal.
Oh. Yeah, not rye like. It's more. And so what I saw, some people said, I think he was even on their website, is like, don't expect this to be rye forward. Expect this to be like single malt forward with rye added to it or something like that. Which disqualifies it from being a single malt. I know, I heard you. I get it, but that's not what I'm talking about. Nitzel prick. He's like so inaccurate.
We've already meandered.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, it's one of those.
What do you get on the nose? Like it's you like. First, I got kind of medicinal,
floral.
Like floral.
It's like a bubblegum sugar, but in like a rounded way. I don't even know how to say it, but it reminds me of like a lower aged Irish whiskey, maybe with the barley, I guess. A little bit of bubblegum, but
that sweetness,
floral notes for sure, especially for rye. Very floral for rye.
I get more like bubblegum, but with medicinal, but not like bubblegum flavored medicine kind of a thing. Like it's, I know. And I think to me, it's a little sharper than floral. So I'm not quite getting the floral, but I can understand like getting something different. You all right there?
Super weird palate. Super weird. It'll hit you in a moment. Bah! Yeah. It's bubblegummy and just synthetic sugar. It's kind of one thing I'm getting out of this.
I'm with you. Synthetic.
Yeah. And I'm not a huge fan, but it's cool that it's a rye and it tastes this weird.
I would never. You pour this for me. I would not know what it is. Like to me,
yeah, it's different.
It's like when a soda goes flat.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's got that kind of experience.
That's great. Love that note.
It just like
it kind of does.
It's just this is not what I thought it was or would be or could be or should be. Like it just kind of falls flat.
Note of the year, Robbie.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Note of the year. You're good for 2023.
Okay. Yeah. No. It just kind of falls flat.
Flat soda. Yeah.
It doesn't hit anything, but it's just different than It's weird. It is weird for sure. I'm gonna go for a second sip.
Where's my dropper? Oh, somehow on the floor. Weird.
Okay. Front end of the palate is kind of like when you burn like a sugar, like it gets burned, but not in like a caramelized way. It gets overburned, but it's synthetic sugar. Like it's just really weird. And
it's like a Diet Coke
bitterness. There's like a bitterness in the middle.
Yeah.
It is weird. I don't know. Yeah. I do get like a slight nutty note, but it's not. I don't know. This is kind of all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not what I expected.
Not all over the place, like in a good way. Like it's
no, it's like I mean, like when you say notes like synthetic sugar bubblegum or like Diet Coke
synthetic sugar.
Yeah, it's not. Those aren't great notes, but it's unique.
It is unique.
And it's not like I probably couldn't drink 3 ounces of this thing, but I could probably drink 2 ounces of this thing.
We'll find out.
So I just added some water.
Nose is vapory.
Nose is even more potent.
Yeah.
And it's the nose for the water reminds me of the palate for the neat. It's really like hitting you hard.
Yeah, it's like synthetic bubblegum, sugar-free synthetic bubblegum kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But like very vapory.
You ever read there's like Haribo sugar-free gummies or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And people will like review it on Amazon. And apparently there's like a very good chance if you eat a few of these, you'll get strong diarrhea. And so they're like, yeah, like this was such a bad idea and eating these. And I don't even know why they make them. Anyways, you should look them up on Amazon.
I had a bunch of sugar-free. My friend Christian Zell and I, you know Christian Zell. We ate a big thing of like sugar-free Jelly Bellies one night. And like he and I enjoy farting. Like we laugh. He sends me farts to this day.
Nice.
Like fart in the
I didn't know you guys were still tight.
Yeah, I know. We drifted apart a little bit. No, we're pretty tight now. But he's in Kansas City, so it's like we don't see.
How's his kid doing?
Good. Kids are good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. Back to the story.
Yeah,
we were farting and we're like, and it's like, this is not fun anymore. It was bad.
Oh, it's great. Where you're like, all right, this is getting real old, and it kind of hurts at this point.
I don't want it. I blew an O-ring. I'm done. Oh. Yeah, it was fun.
Whew, that's pretty good.
Palate.
You ever light your farts on fire?
No, I'm very fearful that it'll go up into my intestinal tract.
Okay, so if you could do it through your jeans, you know that.
That's why you wear jeans all the time?
Yeah.
You never. Cole's always like ready to light a fart.
Yeah.
You never know when
you gotta be ready, man.
You never know when it's gonna go pitch black.
Yeah. I've done it. It's hilarious. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, palate with water is probably worse taste-wise. Like it's like the synthetic sugar part amped up, in my opinion.
I thought it was a little bit better because it was more muted. Like things just. It's like when you drink a flat Coke, you're like, this is not good. So you add 2 drops of water, you're like, this is a little bit better. That's no, I think to me it was a little bit better just because it was like muted and it wasn't getting like as like medicinal or scorchy kind of like, yeah. So I don't know, still not great. I really appreciate the sample, Bryce. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm
glad I know.
Getting rated low. And that's the thing is like we often say things like, what if they malted this grain or that grain? I'm like, okay,
exactly.
We've
had I feel like we've had 100% malted rye before.
Have we? I don't have the memory for that.
I think it was something that Bryce sent. I think it was like that, like Bluebird Distillery or something like that. I don't know. I might be wrong. No, Bluebird had a single malt, I think. I don't know. And that was from outside of Philly.
This is hard to put down.
And it was a Bryce Marita thing.
This is hard to put down. Like I mean, hard to put down your throat, not put the glass down.
Yeah. I just did the ice swirly poo, and the nose is the best because it really tamps down those synthetic sugar and floral notes that aren't always pleasant together. Yeah, who knows? We'll see how this goes with ice. Yeah, I'm gonna take a sip.
All right, give my swirly here. Yeah, I think the nose is probably the best with ice.
And I think the palate is too.
Oh.
It's actually drinkable.
What was the ABV on this again?
100 proof, bottle and bond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's best with ice, in my opinion. It's actually like I could drink more of this now. Not you?
Yeah, no, I'm there. It's still not great. Mm-hmm. It's got a mild sweetness to it. But it kind of hits like that, kind of like a nuttier note, a little medicinal, a little bitter. It's still not good.
Yeah, but I think I'm formulating my rating in a very solid direction now.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so let me start with this. If I had this $60 bottle on my shelf, I would give it away. So I give it like a 5.3. Yeah, like we said, Bryce, thank you. This is great. I'm glad I know. This is not my kind of notes. And I think it really, I honestly still love that note that Robbie gave. It is like a flat soda. It's like you want more, you want a little crispness, but that is not what you're getting. And so that's what I'm getting here. The floral notes are not in a good direction. The synthetic sugar is not in a good direction. And the flat soda, not up my alley. I don't hate it. I could definitely hate something and put it in a 3 or 4 range. But if I had this bottle on my shelf, I wouldn't feel good enough to pour it for people. And therefore I would say, hey, maybe I would pour it for someone and they say, hey, this is good. I'll be like, here's the bottle, have it, So that's kind of what I think.
What you said reminded me of Little Rascals. If you were my kids, I'd punish you. If we were your kids, we'd punish ourselves.
I forgot about that.
Drinking this. This bottle, I think this is a bottle I would bring to like a guy's thing where I'm like, hey, I got this bottle and I got a bottle I like. I'm reverse juicing this sucker. We don't get the good stuff till this thing's gone, and you just
that's a good point.
Pass it around till it's gone. Like just gotta like, or it's like a punishment bottle. Like drinking game punishment, boom. Like it, I don't like it. I don't.
You got to take 2 shots of malted rye.
I don't hate it, but I do not like it. Do not want to put it in my mouth. So I'm going straight 4. 4 is what I'm giving this.
4 is what it is. All right. Well, now that we've gotten to the ratings, they're done. They're rated.
It's finished. El Finito.
It is.
El Fornito.
Fornito. El Hornitos.
I gave it a 4 for Fornitos.
Nice.
You like,
and that means it's time.
Hold on? Do you like Fritos?
Yeah, I can get behind Fritos.
Would you eat do you eat Fritos by themselves?
It depends on what else I have to eat. If it's like the only thing, I'll finish one of those fun size bags. But I'd rather have the flavored Fritos.
Oh, no, we're just talking. Like we're talking original
chili dip.
The chili cheese Fritos. Oh my goodness.
Well, what's the ones that are the twists? You know what I'm talking about? The Fritos, like look like
like the honey barbecue,
like spiral pasta,
NASCAR tie-ins on the labeling.
Yeah,
those are okay.
I like
chili
them.
cheese ones are the best. You ever have Trader Joe's?
Yes. That is exactly what I was going to tell you.
So
and then put it in some cream cheese dipping or like some whipped cream cheese. It's even better.
I can see that.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, Fritos are just like you either got to really put some flavor on it or you got to have them in a dip. So here we go
to Whiskey
World News. Now we're back. Time for Whiskey World News, part of the show where we read an article. Didn't write it, going to read it. Here it goes. This one comes from Men's Journal, written by Brad Jaffe, and it's titled Jefferson introduces the first ever humidity-aged bourbon that's finished in Singapore. This is your chance to try jungle-aged bourbon. Jefferson's has set sail yet again. The award-winning bourbon brand known for aging its liquids at sea is readying a special release of whiskey shaped by the hot and humid climates of Southeast Asia. And it's a scorcher. Here's everything you need to know about Jefferson's Tropics Aged in Humidity. The journey began back in July 2019 when founder Troy Zoller sent 720 barrels worth of his fully mature Kentucky straight bourbon to Singapore. Along the way, the liquid sloshed around atop the ocean, accumulating added wood sugar notes from inside the barrel and a slight brininess from the sea air outside the oak. Once the shipping containers arrived on the opposite end of the world, they were aged for an additional 18 months in a non-temperature controlled warehouse. We're talking jungle-aged bourbon here, folks. That's a first. Right. The bourbon eventually made its way back to Kentucky in March 2023, where Zoller blended the best of what they hadn't already been lost to the evaporation, aka those thirsty angels or sailors, as the case may be. That was Ed actually said. It sounded like I would say. I say stupid stuff.
I don't think you would say something like that.
No, I say stupid stuff like that. But this guy actually wrote it for like an award-winning a publication. He proved that the Bluegrass State's legendary limestone filter water to come away with a 52% ABV whiskey that hits the shelves in September. It noses almost like a funky Jamaican rum, with hints of overripe fruit to consider. The first sip suggests more of the same. It floats across the palate in waves of molasses and fades in the horizon with a subtle nod to saltwater taffy. These atypical notes are not by chance, mind you. To me, Terroir from whiskey is not where the grains are grown, but rather where the whiskey ages, Zoller contends. He's making a compelling argument in this lightless foliage, which comes more than a decade after the first batch of Jefferson's oceans washed up on shore. I'm skipping down here. For those who think the ocean aging is some sort of glorified gimmick, you really out to taste this. Ot. Is out and ot spelled the same way?
Yeah.
Okay. You really ought to taste.
No. It's you really OUGHT.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Oh, it says out. You really out to taste this
$99
release side by side against Jefferson's flagship bourbon. The original bottle had lower ABV of 40%, but it's still built from exactly the same ingredients. And we'll stop there. So $90, first ever jungle aged.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is that most people will say, in order to be a bourbon, it needs to be like done in the U.S. And technically, it was. Except it was mostly aged, not all, but mostly aged in Singapore. And like the difference is that Jefferson's normally is just at sea, or Jefferson's Oceans rather is just at sea for so long, but this one they just stopped it in the jungle. So in a way, I believe it that this is potentially the first jungle aged whiskey. Based on the tasting notes that they gave, like overripe fruit and rum, like kind of feel to it, I would want to try it, but I don't want to spend $90 for it. That's for sure. It seems a little too gimmicky and too risky for me.
So the thing, I see what you're saying, and that would hold me back. But the thing that makes me think this might be okay is like Paul John. Like we really enjoyed that.
That's
single,
a good
right?
point.
Like,
and that was in the south of
Asia. Yeah. So maybe it's
that's
gonna be as
hot.
Good.
Yeah, that's a great point, Robbie.
I don't know.
Some great points today.
I just think you're sleep deprived, and I make more sense. I make more sense when people are. I should be an interrogator.
Full deck.
I should be an interrogator. Like you're sleep deprived. I come in like, yeah, you bombed it, didn't you?
Yeah,
you bombed that place.
You blew it up, didn't you?
Pretty sure you did. You're like an you're an uncarbonated soda.
Yeah,
you're not going to go off anymore because you already blew up that place.
Yeah, you're held back now. Is anything going to blow up while you're in prison? No, because you are that unfizzy soda.
Fizzy. How many cylinders we firing on right now, Cole? I feel like
how many cylinders I got? That's the question. Am I playing with the full cylinders? Anyway,
full deck.
It's a joke, Robbie. It's a joke. Okay. See,
you've been so off, I couldn't tell, man. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Sorry. But
I kind of feel that, like but then that's the fact is that that's a semi-peated single malt whiskey that
which is
Paul John is
very different.
But I want to try it.
Yeah. We also have the Paul John Christmas one, which I have not heard great
we gotta
things
do
about.
That.
I haven't heard great
really?
things.
Good to know. I'm not surprised.
I only have one source of the non-great things. That was David Rockefeller.
Who's that?
David Rockefeller.
Oh, nice. He's had it. Nice.
Yeah.
What a baller.
He is a baller.
I don't have a glass.
A good guy.
Yeah.
Got it. So anyway,
he's a beautiful guy, and so is his family. See, that's the thing about Patreon. Not everyone in your family has to sign up for Patreon. Just one member, and the rest of the family gets beautiful.
Apparently good looking.
Talking to you, people that have been listening to us for a long time, but haven't considered
you
Patreon
ugly sons of guns.
Beauty.
You know you're not pretty. You met your wife with the whiskey goggles on, and you kick yourself in the butt. You met your husband with the whiskey goggles on. You kick your butt every single day. They come out like they're good people.
Good people.
Slightly ugly.
But you could be pretty.
Sign up for Patreon.
Patreon.com/chillfilter.
You won't be kicking your butt. You'll be slapping their hiney.
It's so speaking of
hiney slapping,
riffing off each other. We should totally, at the end of the episode, do a live read so that we can put it in the break. Yeah.
I'll see what
it'll be
a
hoot. Yeah.
Speaking of, we're doing a show.
Yeah.
Do you have a what whiskey would you choose for us?
We're like less than 45 minutes in, and no, I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
I don't.
Well, what about this? What is your favorite 12? No. What is your favorite whiskey that is over 12 years old?
Oh, no, don't do that.
You have an answer. I know your answer.
Well, my favorite whiskey of all time is Redbreast 27, so it would be that.
Perfect.
But I use that too often.
Or should we say less than 12 years?
Let's say less than 12 years. You don't.
Okay.
I know what yours is going to be.
Probably.
Because it's the same thing all the time.
Yeah, well, it would probably be the same either way. If it were less than or greater than 12 years, it'd probably be Eagle Rare.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember years of things that well, but I'm going to go with Trails End 8-year. I like that one a lot.
Nice. And it's from the land of your people, the Pacific Northwest.
Close to the land of my people.
Yeah.
The PNW.
No, I guess I'll go, let me think about this one. I've had some killer whiskeys that beat Eagle Rare in terms of less than 12 years. So even though that's kind of my favorite, like attainable, not semi-attainable, but I'm going to go with A. Smith Bowman, 10-year cask strength.
Bowman is always delish. Sweet dish.
It's a winner. It's a winner. It is. And
it is.
It's incredible for a 10-year bourbon. So, it's like 141 proof. So might as well be good. I'm going to go with A. Smith Bowman cask strength. And
might as well be good.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
So, man, this is a short episode.
It is a short episode. Well, I said I need to do a short episode, but then I didn't mean this short.
Too short.
We can push it. We can ramble.
Nah.
Ramble on.
So I'll finish it with this. Hopefully next week we are hoping to connect with a head distiller of a certain company. But we'll figure it out if we can or not. He is a little hard to reach sometimes, but we love this guy.
We've been reaching out and trying to touch him.
Yeah, we've been reaching out and touching his faith. So if we don't, we'll put something up this week, and maybe we'll put Paul John Christmas on there. Maybe
we have
give me a moment.
We have that other Amroot too. We could do an Indian.
Yeah, let's do Indian. So give me a second. I got World Whiskeys. Yes, we have Amroot cask strength, and that's specifically a 62.8%. And we also have Paul John 2020 Christmas edition. So Indian battle next week, unless we get with this head distiller and drink their product.
Okay, so, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too, Robbie.
Yeah,
I hope you like that a lot.
Cole, I hope you can get some sleep before the next time we record.
I hope so too. And you know what else I hope? I hope that Amara has a fantastic time in not Mexico.
And I hope our Patreon listeners and people who just want to join had a great time yesterday at our drink along. But most of all, Cole, I hope our love of whiskey have lifted their spirits. That's why you wear jeans all the time?
Yeah.
You never. Cole's always like ready to light a fart.